Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of the Food and Farm Show. I'm Gil Dominguez.
And I'm Cheryl Noble. Today we are on location at Anything Green Hydroponics in Penn Valley, where today they are conducting a class on propagation.
And that is going to be so much fun, Cheryl. I don't think you can get enough information on how to graft plants together, and we're going to be looking at seeds, and it's going to be a really fun program that you'll be able to see next week right here on the Food and Farm Show. But before we get started, I want to take an opportunity to say hi to all of our viewers on our YouTube channels. You know, Cheryl, a part of the fun of having our show on YouTube is that we can look at the analytics and see a lot about the different demographics of the viewers that we have. And I was really surprised to find out that we have viewers in several countries in Europe that are tuning in each week.
Yeah, people are watching from Germany, and even pulled it up today, Canada and Switzerland. Pretty cool.
Puerto Rico, Australia, thanks for joining us right here.
Yeah.
And a big hi to you from the Food and Farm Show. Okay, so on today's show, we have lots of action going on. We're going to start with the story on microgreens as we go visit Jason Eaton and his family and learn about how they're using aquaponic technology to create this interesting crop.
Then later in the program, I'll be talking with Ross Tessien, a local aquaponic designer, to find out how you can help him and his Kickstarter program to raise money for a commercial aquaponic growing center right here in Nevada County.
Of course, we're going to be spending some time with Janey Powers, the chicken lady, in segment number 2 of Backyard Chickens.
Be sure to join us every week, Monday evening, 6:30 p.m. on NCTV Channel 11, Suddenlink 16, and in Auburn, that's ACTV Channel 20. You can also catch us 24/7 on our YouTube channel, which is the Food and Farm Show. And you can also join in the conversation with us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, and also Twitter, Pinterest, and our website, thefoodandfarmshow.com.
So we're about to get going after the first break. It's off to the end of the road farm, so learn all about microgreens with the Eaton family. You're watching the Food and Farm Show right here on the Touchdown Productions Network.
Anything Green Hydroponics is your source for hydro systems, grow lights, and soils. Anything Green offers a complete range of organic nutrients as well as fungicides, miticides, and predatory bugs. Don't forget the Anything Green Propagation Workshop on Saturday, March 30th from 1 to 2 p.m. Learn how to propagate seeds, cuttings, and grafting. It's all at Anything Green Hydroponics.
Briar Patch Co-op Natural Foods Community Market offers organic produce from over 30 local and regional farms and buys organic produce throughout the year from River Hill, Four Frog, Sweet Roots, Johansson, and Naked Farms. You can trust the Patch to hold their producers to the highest standards and always be certified organic. So get to the Patch, the Briar Patch, for organic produce.
Spring is here. Time to visit the Garden Center at A to Z Supply. We have everything you need to plant it, grow it, preserve it, and eat it. With a master gardener and full-time beekeepers on staff, the Garden Center carries a wide selection of organic plants, along with people and pet-friendly products. And don't forget our weekly workshops at the Garden Center at A to Z Supply.
Since 2009, Creative Coops has been committed to helping people live a more sustainable lifestyle. Their chicken coops are made right here in Grass Valley. Their innovative design allows for easy expansion for 3, 6, or 10 chickens. Creative Coops keeps your chickens safe from predators, are well ventilated, with spacious nesting boxes, making backyard chickens fun for the whole family. It's Creative Coops, bringing backyard chickens to your home.
Introducing Cuvée Leather Kitchenware. Kitchenware that lasts a lifetime. Made from genuine leather suede, Cuvée kitchenware comes in a variety of colors and has been featured on the Food Network. Leather is the perfect kitchenware. It is a natural insulator, washable, and non-flammable. Cuvée Leather Kitchenware, Chefware, and Tableware. Unique kitchenware to complement your favorite place. Create, entertain, and be you.
Welcome back to the Food and Farm Show. Jason and Bridget Eaton came to Nevada County from Santa Cruz a few years ago, and in the pioneer spirit that they brought with them, started an aquaponics farm. Today they're doing microgreens, and our Gil Dominguez had a chance to talk with them, and we learned all about that system.
Last week we were at the end of the road farm, and now we're going to take a look at the farm and see what they got going here with the microgreens. Joining me is farmer Jason Eaton. Jason, thanks so much for letting the Food and Farm Show come in and take a peek at your micro world.
Oh, glad to. I'm glad you guys are here and hope you enjoy it.
Now, what got you started in micro plants? Is it you just don't like the big ones?
Yeah, it's much easier to grow the small ones. It was the nutritional value, and what that particular plant lent itself to was growing in an aquaponic environment. And we wanted to do something sustainable here rather than just dirt farming. And so that's how we got into aquaponics, and that's why we looked at different plant varieties and said, look, this type of product fits perfectly with aquaponics.
Now, what's the nutritional value? Why are microgreens so important?
Yeah, that's the #1 question. So the microgreens are 4 to 40 times the nutritional value of the full-grown plant. 4 to 40 times. So
that's an amazing number. How does that occur?
Well, if you think about the plant, when it first starts out just as a seed, the sprout is the first stage of that growth cycle. And most of the nutrients comes from the seed. The very next cycle, part of the cycle, is that the root develops and the plant starts taking in nutrients for its full growth. At that microgreen stage, it has all the nutrients it needs to grow to a full-size plant. So if you think about it, you're eating a full-size plant in every little microgreen. Nevada County consumers are very educated, so they already know the nutrient value of the plants. They understand it's a superfood, and they're just eager to get as much as we can produce. So we're just trying to keep up.
Now, is the microgreen something that you're having all by itself? Is it a garnish that you put on top of your salad or your food, or is it best just to eat them just natural and just have that be your meal? How many do you have to eat then if you do that?
Yeah, the answer to the question is yes. It's good for all those things. It's great for a garnish. We even have like grilled cheese sandwiches and put the microgreens underneath the bread. So you have to realize the microgreens have as much flavor as the original or the plant it would grow up to be eventually. So if you eat a microgreen watercress, it's super tangy, super bitter, just like even actually more so than a full-size plant.
So the idea then is to incorporate the microgreens into all of your meal activities.
Absolutely, yeah, every single one, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Put it on your Cheerios.
All right, well, let's go inside now and see the whole microgreen operation. Inside the micro world here of Jason Eaton. And Jason, this is a complete different temperature and environment that you've created here for your plants.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to keep the fish as warm as we can because when they're happy and warm, they produce more waste, which is what the aquaponics system uses to fertilize the plants.
Now, right here in front of us isn't part of the aquaponics, but it's part of your personal garden.
Yeah, we love to eat well, so we try to grow everything we eat, and it includes the animals we have on the farm here. So the aquaponics is the only commercial product we have going on the farm today.
Now, over to our right, we'll take a look at it in a second, is the actual aquaponic system. It doesn't take up very much room.
No, it really doesn't. It actually works out to be a 1-to-5 ratio. So if you think about a 1-pound fish and the amount of nutrient it produces, it can supply 5 square feet of plants with the nutrients it needs to grow. So that's the ratio you're looking at, about a 5-to-1. So we don't need a whole lot of fish. We have about 350-gallon fish tank, and in that fish tank is about 65 pounds of fish. And then that supplies approximately 1,000 square foot of growing space.
And so what that ratio is all figured out. Obviously, you gave us those numbers, which
Right.
which I can't remember. That's why we're recording it. So you at home can tune in and write down what he was talking about. But the whole idea of using fish as fertilizer and then having that closed system. What are we feeding the fish here?
We're feeding them organic fish food. And, it is tricky to get that, but if you're growing organically, you want to have organic fish food. And that's the only input that we bring into the aquaponic system is the fish food itself. The fish food feeds the fish, and then the fish in turn produce waste. And they do that through ammonia from their gills, and they also do it through their waste, they excrete. That waste goes into the media bed, and the bacteria in the media bed convert that waste into nitrate, which is fertilizer. Nitrate is fertilizer. So the plants can take that nitrate from the water directly without competing in a soil environment with other plants. So they get everything they need from the water. They're always submerged in the water. They don't have to compete. And then they also clean the water along with that bacteria. So when the water goes back through the media beds and through the plants, it goes back into the fish tank, it's all cleaned. It's a closed loop system where there's no waste, and the only input is fish food, and the output is plants.
And of course, what goes into the fish, good organic material, you get the organic waste that comes out of it because they're organic themselves.
That's right. And a lot of people will grow fish that they're also edible. You know, you don't have to grow a variety that's edible, but if you would like to, that's fine too. You can see some people grow tilapia or catfish or various other varieties that you'd like to have on your plate. So there's also that output you can have if you want to farm your fish.
Now, is that something that you guys are participating in or doing with you eating the fish and raising that as food as well?
Actually, not right now. Maybe in the future. We have very large goldfish. So, and that, yeah, matter of fact, goldfish are very good candidates because they do get big, but they produce a lot of waste. And you know, they're really a trash fish. You know, they're invasive species in California. But in the aquaponics environment, they actually do very well because they're very tolerant of dirty water. They're very tolerant of heat and cold cycles, and they're very good at producing a lot of waste. Okay, so what you see on the right is the fish tank, and like I said, we have about a 350-gallon fish tank with 65 some odd fish in it. Those fish are producing the waste that the bacteria need for the fertilizer. So there's different, I'm not going to bore you with some of the details on aquaponics, but how this system works is we fill the fish tank with water. When the water gets to a certain level, it flows naturally out of the fish tank and into the gravel beds, which you see below you here. Those gravel beds have the media in it that filter the water so the bacteria can eat the waste and produce the nitrate that the plants need, which is pure fertilizer. Okay?
Now, when you're saying media, you mean
rock.
The rocks?
Yeah,
okay.
Rock, that's what I mean, right.
So you don't see the fish?
I can show them to you, though.
No, but you don't, you generally, they live in the dark?
Well, no, there's some light going in there. They're not in the dark. What a silly question.
No, otherwise they'd be a mushroom.
Yeah, right.
So then how does the water get up into the microbeds?
Ah, good question. Yep, that's just another feed off of the main line from the fish tank. So the water from the fish tank that's being pumped into there goes into these higher microgreen beds, which zigzag back and forth until they get back to the bed, and then they dump back into the main media bed again. The other difference about the microgreen beds is that they're a constant height. So the water level is always constant, and we need that for the way we grow the microgreens in the pad, where the pad needs to be kept moist at all times, otherwise that fragile microgreen won't be able to grow. So that's a different style of aquaponics. They call that ebb and flow.
So what is this bed made? It looks like a culvert. Is that what it is? Or
yeah.
A drainage that's been cut in half?
Exactly right. It's a HPDE double wall culvert, and you can get this from, of course, local supply places. It's a very nice material. It's actually certified for organic growing as well, HPDE is. And it can hold not only its weight, but the weight of the media, the gravel inside, and the water that it fills it. So it's a very sturdy material. You can weld on it with plastic welding, for example, and it can hold all that weight, as I mentioned. So it's very handy for this type of system. All right, so on this bed here, this is our next batch of microgreens. They are starting from the seed, and we put them in a pad which holds the moisture, so the seed is always exposed to a nice wet environment. From there, it'll actually sprout. It usually just takes a few days for them to sprout. You can see we got 6 trays here, and 1 arugula has already sprouted back here. So this is the first stage. Would they stay in here for, I think it's about 4 or 5 days, and then we'll start to see the sprouts come. And then from the sprout stage, they'll start to grow root. And from that root can grow right through the tray and right through the pad and get into the aquaponics water. And then from that point, they start making their own nutrients.
And it probably wants to go into the water. It's drawn, the roots are drawn straight down to where that water source is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they're looking for when they first sprout, is somewhere to get their nutrients from. So they naturally grow down to the water.
So can we lift this up without disturbing it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing here for this guy because he's still in the sprout stage.
But you can see the media right down there below to where this culvert is filled with the same rocks that we saw down below in the other container. And so these trays just sit right on top of the media, and the moisture is drawn up to them.
Yeah, that's right. The pad that's the seeds are on helps pick the moisture up from the bed and brings it close to the seeds.
Okay, so let's go over here now and see what a more finished product looks like.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. This is a French radish. And of course, radishes have that great tangy flavor, and the microgreens have the same bite to them. And you'd be surprised to know that they're very not pungent, maybe more flavorful than the beet itself at this stage when they're a microgreen. This is the next stage. So all of these have been sprouted. They're about 10 days old, these ones here. So I think that's about right. You'll see under here, when I lift this tray, all of the roots now have grown from the microgreens. It's past the stage of a sprout. The roots have gone through the pad and they've gone into the media. Some of them are quite long. So at this stage, they're taking nutrients from the aquaponics system, which has all that nitrate in it, and they're starting to develop as a full plant.
So when you say the roots are quite long, to me, what that means is that they're vigorously growing and searching out those nutrients. And because they can maneuver within the gravel, which is the media at this point, then there's really very little to stop them from going down further.
Yeah, that's an important point you brought up, is in an aquaponics system, unlike a dirt farming system, they don't have to compete for nutrients because they're always surrounded by the water that has a nutrient in it. So you can grow things very closely together like this and no plant's going to suffer. They all get everything they need.
And here's what the final product looks like that you'll be seeing in the Briar Patch Market. It's End of the Road Farm Living Microgreens. Jason, what a fabulous project you've got working here.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad you guys can come out and help educate the public.
Well, it is something that's it's aquaponics, it's hydroponics, it's edible, it's nutritious. What a great way for you to spend your time providing this kind of commodity for our community.
Absolutely. We'd like to be innovators, try new things out, and this is one of them. So we hope that the community really enjoys it.
All right, so there they are, the microgreens from the end of the road, proving once again that the Food and Farm Show goes to the end of the road to bring you the latest in farming news.
Thanks, Gil. We are taking our second break now, but when we return, we will hear more on backyard chickens with the chicken lady, Janey Powers.
Hi, everybody. My name is Janey Powers, and I'm here with Percy Brahma of my soon-to-be famous rooster, and we're here just to talk a little bit about backyard chickens. And this segment, we're going to be talking about the right chicken for you. So stay tuned.
Briar Patch Co-op Natural Foods Community Market offers organic produce from over 30 local and regional farms and buys organic produce throughout the year from River Hill, Four Frog, Sweet Roots, Johansson, and Naked Farms. You can trust the Patch to hold their producers to the highest standards and always be certified organic. So get to the Patch, the Briar Patch, for organic produce.
Spring is here. Time to visit the Garden Center at A to Z Supply. We have everything you need to plant it, grow it, preserve it, and eat it. With a master gardener and full-time beekeepers on staff, the Garden Center carries a wide selection of organic plants, along with people and pet-friendly products. And don't forget our weekly workshops at the Garden Center at A to Z Supply.
Introducing Cuvée Leather Kitchenware. Kitchenware that lasts a lifetime. Made from genuine leather suede, Cuvée Kitchenware comes in a variety of colors and has been featured on the Food Network. Leather is the perfect kitchenware. It is a natural insulator, washable, and non-flammable. Cuvée, leather kitchenware, chefware, and tableware. Unique kitchenware to complement your favorite place. Create, entertain, and be you.
Anything Green Hydroponics is your source for hydro systems, grow lights, and soils. Anything Green offers a complete range of organic nutrients as well as fungicides, miticides, and predatory bugs. Anything Green Hydroponics has just received this year's soil. Get your totes, pallets, or individual bags. Stay tuned for future workshops. It's all at Anything Green Hydroponics.
Since 2009, Creative Coops has been committed to helping people live a more sustainable lifestyle. Their chicken coops are made right here in Grass Valley. Their innovative design allows for easy expansion for 3, 6, or 10 chickens. Creative Coops keeps your chickens safe from predators, are well ventilated, with spacious nesting boxes, making backyard chickens fun for the whole family. It's Creative Coops, bringing backyard chickens to your home.
Welcome to another edition of Backyard Chickens. I'm Janey Powers, the chicken lady, and I'm with my favorite rooster, Percy. Let's learn all about chickens. It's possible for a chick who is raised in one of these broiler houses or egg-laying factories to never be touched by a human being their entire lives. So, it's an automated process. It's not what people have always wanted to have. Because even though we get a lot of eggs, we get a lot of chickens out of that, it's not so good for the chickens. The chickens are crowded together in small cages. People forget that they have some thoughts and that they have some feelings as well. But this is changing. Since 50 years ago, there was a book that was put out by Rachel Carson called Silent Spring. Has anyone here read it? And Rachel Carson was the first person to talk about the environment and how the things that we did to the environment affected our health. People just didn't think about it. Now it just seems second nature to think on these things. But no one thought that when you sprayed DDT and all those other herbicides and rodenticides that this was affecting you. You didn't even think about it. But because of this, people started thinking about food and the food chain and what we were doing to get bad things into the food chain. And this is really when things started changing. And you probably all read that now when you go to the grocery store, almost all the eggs that you see in the store are listed as cage-free eggs because they're getting away from the crowded conditions of the hens being stuffed into the little tiny cages. So what they have now, when you say cage-free, I just want to let you know, this does not mean that every morning they come out and they open the doors and 25,000 chickens go galloping across the pasture, and then at night they say, chicka, 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 and 25,000 chickens come galloping back in. But things are better. Remember the little cage that they had before? This is usually what they have now. So cage-free means exactly that. They are not in cages, they are in large barns, so they get to move around. They have enough room, they can stretch out their wings, they can do different things, they can socialize and so forth. So as far as the commercial thing, it's gotten better. But what we can do for us is we can buy local. We can buy eggs from the neighbor lady down the street. We can go to any of the farmers markets and get fresh eggs there. And why? Because we can be guaranteed that those chickens are eating a healthy diet and we know where our food is coming from. Or, and this is the reason you're here, is you can grow local. And so why not? Why not take control of the food that comes into your family's lives by raising your own chickens? Now, not everyone can raise their own cows or pigs or sheep or whatever, but if you've got a little bit of land and you've got a little bit of time and you've got a little bit of knowledge, you can have nice fresh eggs on your table, and you can also harvest and have some nice chicken for Sunday dinner. Now, Why chickens? First of all, I mean, why not? I mean, if you had an adorable little critter like that, I mean, wouldn't you want to have a chicken too? Well, first of all, it's really family fun. I don't know how many of you here are grandparents or have parents. Chickens are great for kids. They give them great entertainment, and it gives them a chance to get outside and learn how to take care of a little animal. These pictures were taken about 12 years ago. These are my grandkids, and at the time they were living in Las Vegas. And so they would come up for different visits, and the first thing they did after they got settled in was to go down to the barn and find their favorite chickens and then carry them around. And sometimes the hens were very good about letting them pick them up, and sometimes they gave them a little chase because it was really cute to watch. The hen would be here and the grandchild would be here. They would walk up like this, and the hen would go, just move just a little bit out of the way. So they got good exercise too. And I just want to point out the little hen that my grandson is holding, and like I said, that picture was taken 12 years ago. That little hen's name is Mother Veronica. We call her Ronnie or Ron. She is still alive. She is still hanging out in the chicken house. She's still a part of our family. Also, it can be a really fun hobby. For your kids and grandkids, if they live locally, there's the 4-H Club. It's a really great organization for young people. It's good fun. You get together and meet some really nice kids and some nice adults. And it teaches responsibility because these kids are responsible for the animal that they have. Some of the kids will raise the bigger animals, and when you go to the fair, you might participate in some of the auctions that they have. A lot of the kids will raise their own chickens, and it's really fun to see them bring their chickens to the fair and get judged, and hopefully they walk home with some kind of a ribbon. And again, it gets them outside, it gets them out involved in nature, and it keeps them away from the video games, and it keeps them away from saying, what can I do? What can I do? Okay, so, and of course, the main reason why people do have chickens is because they want the fresh eggs. And if those of you who, I'm sure, has everyone tasted a farm fresh egg? Well, if you haven't, there is a huge difference. And I have had people come to me and say, I can buy the eggs at Save Mart or at these different places, and I pay a lot less than what I pay you if I buy my eggs from you. I say, I'll tell you what, take an egg home with you. Take one of those eggs that you bought for 99 cents a dozen or $1.99 a dozen and do a taste test. It doesn't take long before they come back and say, wow, I know what you mean. I've forgotten what real eggs taste like. So you can have fresh eggs on your table, or you can maybe have a tasty Sunday dinner. And it's fun to show off what you do too. Every year at the county fair, they have a place where you can enter your eggs. Now, when you see the chickens at the county fair, those are all 4-H projects, so they don't have anything for us adults to show off our chickens, but we can show off our eggs. And there's all sorts of categories, and it's really fun. And if you win a ribbon, you can take your friends to the fair and you can drag them over to the chicken house and you can take them over and show them the eggs. And you know what? They're going to say, I never even knew there was such a thing there. But you can show it off and you can hang your ribbons up. I mean, you know, it's really kind of fun. But I think the main reason why we want to do this is because we have the satisfaction of knowing that the animals that we have, we're giving them the best possible life that we can. So everything is sort of in tune together. So remember we talked about chicken terms? Now the reason you need to know some, and this is where I have to remind people, this is not nap time. This is not the power nap. You don't go off into la-la land during this. It's important because when you go to the feed store, and now that you're going to be chicken owners, you will spend a lot of time at the feed store. You want to act like at least you know something about it. You don't want to go and say, give me one of those big chickens, you know, or what's that? What's that one there? It's about that tall. Is that a pullet? No, we don't want that. We want you to act like you know a little bit of what you're doing. So first of all, a large fowl. A large fowl is a standard size chicken hen. That's a female chicken. And for those of you who are just starting, the ladies are called hens and the guys are called roosters. The babies are chicks and the young teenagers are pullets if they're hens, or cockerels if they're young roosters. A bantam or a banty, all the chicken people say banties, so you don't go around and say, oh, give me that one of those banties over there. Or I've got a couple of banty hens. Okay. A banty is a small miniature chicken. They're anywhere from 1/4 to 1/3 the size of a regular chicken, and almost every breed of chicken you can get in the smaller banty size. And there are advantages to having banties. First of all, they're smaller. They eat less. You don't have to have as much room, but you don't get the bigger eggs. You know, you get the small eggs. There are some chickens that are what they call true bantams, meaning there is no large size version available. You can only get them in the small size. And we'll see a couple of those as we go along. A cockerel is a male chicken under 1 year old, and a cock is a male chicken over 1 year, and that's what we're all familiar with is a rooster. And we'll talk a little bit about roosters, just to say that if you have the space and you can have a rooster, of course you can't have it if you're in the city limits, but if you're outside the city limits, you can consider a rooster. If you do, talk to me before you get one, because there are really good boy roosters and there are bad boy roosters. And what you want is a good boy rooster. And sometimes even the good boy roosters forget that they're good boys, and you have to remind them that they are not a bad boy rooster. And then a pullet is a female chicken under 1 year old, and if you visit any of the feed stores right now, you'll see sign-ups saying pullets are available. A pullet is really just what it says. It's a juvenile bird. They're usually about 3 months old. It's kind of hard to tell in this picture, but the young lady on the left is a pullet. She's just a little bit thinner. She's sort of like a teenage girl. You know, they're a little bit thinner. They just haven't filled out. They haven't quite reached womanhood. Well, that's the same with the pullets and the hens. And when pullets first start laying, they lay eggs that are called pullet eggs. And pullet eggs are quite a bit smaller than the eggs that they're going to end up laying. Now, when I sell eggs, and I sell my pullet eggs, I tell people that these are very special eggs because they only come once in a chicken's lifetime. Because as they get older, the eggs get bigger until they get to be full size. So nobody says, whoa, how come my eggs are so much smaller? Where's my big fat eggs? Where's my jumbo eggs? And I'll say, you are so lucky because you got a once-in-a-lifetime chicken's pullet's eggs. And so, anyway, they're impressed. Now remember, it takes about 6 months for a chick, a baby chick, to mature to the point where she's going to start laying eggs. So a lot of times people will buy pullets to sort of speed up the process. So if you buy a 3-month-old pullet, you're going to get eggs in about 3 months, as opposed to if you buy a 2-day-old chick that you're going to get eggs from for 6 months. So the advantage of having a pullet is that you'll get action, production, earlier. But the disadvantage is you don't get a chance to really bond. And if you're talking about making a chicken part of your family, the best way to do that is to raise them from chicks and handle them every day so that they become your friend, and they respect you, and they appreciate you, and they know that you're going to take care of them. So it's important. If you're looking for just get those chickens here, put them out in the chicken yard, let's get those eggs going, then pullets might work for you. Now sometimes you will see signs up, chickens for sale. Now why would people sell mature chickens? Because they're probably getting a little long in the tooth if chickens had teeth. And long in the tooth, it doesn't mean that they're very old, because chickens lay best the first year of their lives. The second year, they lay pretty well. The third year, they lay so-so. The fourth year, they lay, whenever they feel like it, which isn't very often. And they live for 10 years. So, if you want to buy mature chickens, be sure you buy them from somebody that you know and you trust. And so when you say, how old is that chicken? And that person says, oh, it's just a year old. Well, the chances are it's probably a year old last year, and it's probably two years old this year. So be sure to say, and what year were they a year old? Because what you don't want is somebody's trying to get rid of a chicken because they're not laying anymore, and then you end up with a chicken that's non-productive. I have to tell the story of my friend who's going to be talking a little bit later. She needed a chicken to befriend a one hen that she had. So I said, I have this hen. She's an older hen, and she doesn't really lay anymore. And my friend said, well, that's okay, because really I just want company. Chickens are very social, so you really can't have just one chicken. They have to have buddies. So I gave her my older hen. What happened? The chicken started laying. It hadn't laid in years, but all of a sudden it's putting out eggs, so who knows? Okay, now there are 113 different breeds of chickens recognized by the American Standard of Perfection, called the Standard. That's another good term that you can throw about, which will make you seem like you're really a chicken authority. You can say, yep, my chicken's registered in the Standard. And people will go, ooh. So there's a lot to choose, and there's really a lot more than the 113 that you see listed. And there's under that, there's 5 classes. No snoozing. This is important because the different classes of chickens have different personalities. So there are some classes of chickens that they are wonderful birds, they are beautiful birds, but they are not really good birds for a backyard chicken flock. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. For a first year chicken owner, you're just getting started, you want to have success. So I want to give you everything that I can that will ensure that your first crop of chickens you're happy with, you're successful, they like you, you like them, and they're producing eggs. So normally the classes that you can look at are the American class and the English class, because these chickens are usually very calm and they're very laid back. The other classes, the continental class, the Asiatic class, the Mediterranean class, these chickens can be a little zippy. And we'll talk about zippy later on. And then the ornamental class, that's a great class if you want a beautiful chicken that doesn't lay eggs. So anyway, we'll keep those in mind. Now, if you think that's not enough to turn your head, there are different breeds of chickens. There are egg-producing breeds. We like those. That's what we're looking for. And there's meat birds. And there's dual-purpose chickens, meaning they can be layers or there can be Sunday dinner. And then there's ornamental breeds, which we talked about a little bit and we'll talk more about. So, looking at the egg-producing breeds. Now, you would say, yes, this is what I want. I want an egg-producing breed because I want eggs. Now, the most famous egg-producing breed of chicken is the Leghorn. Okay, anybody remember Foghorn, Leghorn? Okay. The Leghorns, these are the chickens that live in the big chicken houses that produce all the eggs that you buy at the grocery store. Why? Because they're not too big. They only weigh about 4 pounds. They start laying early, about 5 months. They can lay up to 280 eggs a year, but they are very high-strung and they're hard to work with. That doesn't matter to the people who have the big chicken houses because these chickens are untouched by human hands, but if you have a yard full of Leghorns, I will guarantee that when it's time for them to go in, they will not recognize that chicken house, even though they have been living in it for 2 years. That chicken house will suddenly look like something that they do not want to come near. They will look at you and say, I don't know you. I don't know you. So, again, notice this is a Mediterranean class of bird. Again, when we were talking about the different classes, the Mediterranean birds, the continental birds, the Asiatic birds, a lot of those are really a little flaky. And they may be good layers, but what you're looking for, you want good layers, but you want something that is going to come into your chicken house at night. It's not going to be flopping around when you walk in the door. So this is what we're going to be looking for. Okay, now the meat breeds. So, one of the most famous and the most popular meat breed of chicken is your Cornish cross. Why? Because it grows very quickly. It weighs 5 pounds by the time it's 8 weeks old. So remember we were talking about pullets are about 3 months old, and hens before they start to lay are about 6 months old. So all of a sudden, we have a chicken that's mature in 8 weeks. It has been bred purposely to be a meat bird. It has a broad breast because everybody likes white meat, right? And it has short, fat legs. Why? Because everybody likes drumsticks. It has white feathers, which means it's easy to pluck. So this bird has been designed to be a meat bird. Now, you're thinking to yourself, I know someone is out there saying, well, I don't know. Maybe I want meat birds, maybe I want egg-laying birds, maybe I want both. So I'll get some Cornish cross or some other meat bird, and if I change my mind and decide that I'm not going to harvest it, well, I'll just keep it, and it'll be an egg layer. You can't do this because these birds are not designed to have long lives. They grow very quickly, which means their bones grow very quickly too. Their bones are very brittle. If you kept them for a long time, then you would be into a chicken that might have a broken leg. They have very broad breasts. Their breasts are so large that as they get older, it's hard for them to actually stand up. So, last chicken class I taught, somebody said, I have a Cornish cross chicken. I've had her for 11 years, and she has been the greatest chicken in the whole world. Again, there are exceptions to the rule, but if you want to be in the successful one, don't start off with something that's going to be an iffy bird for you. So you probably don't want to get into the meat birds unless you really and truly want to have your own meat chickens. Hi everybody, and welcome to the Food and Farm Show. My name is Janey Powers. I'm also known as the Chicken Lady, and I am a frequent guest on the Food and Farm Show talking all about backyard chickens. We're going to be covering a wide range of chicken talks. Coming up will be sections on the right chicken for you, how to make the right kind of chicken house, and all kinds of information. So please join us for the Chicken Show on the Food and Farm Show.
You can see Janey's reports each week right here on the Food and Farm Show. As we saw in our first segment today with microgreens, aquaponics is really catching on here in Nevada County. our very own Cheryl Noble, had a chance to talk with Ross Tessien on his aquaponic project and Kickstarter program, which he's hoping to develop into a commercial operation right here in Nevada County. Let's meet him right now.
We're going to talk a little bit more now about aquaponics, a growing farming alternative here in Nevada County. And my guest now is Ross Tessien, who has a different kind of aquaponics project going on. Hi.
Hi there.
Tell us how you got started in aquaponics.
I was looking for new technologies. I'm a mechanical engineer, so I start off with technology concepts and then develop them into a finished product. And I was exposed to aquaponics first in Hawaii. A friend of mine was into it and had a very small little barrel system, and through that I got interested more in it and started researching, and then talked to him and said, well, hey, I want to build a big one. And he said, I want to build a bigger one too. So we built one over at his place, and that went really well. And
this was your design?
Yeah, both of us collaborated on it, and we looked at what other people had done in the past, but what my focus is on reducing the cost of the materials.
Oh, so you can customize a hydroponics farm. Well, you've got a Kickstarter project, and I want to hear about that.
Well, the Kickstarter project is to take this to an even larger level by building a commercial scale farm with 5,000 square feet of growing space. So the first table we built was 64 square feet, and then the system we built over here is 64 square feet of a regular table plus another half of that on a deep water culture table. The new farm will be 5,000 square feet of growing space, so very much larger, and then we'll take the produce to our local farmers markets and hopefully be able to grow lettuce and possibly things like tomatoes year-round, depending on whether we can work out some wood chip heating methods for the winter. Then we might be able to have tomatoes through the winter.
Ooh, would like that. How much are you hoping to raise on Kickstarter?
$12,000 is the target for raising, and that's enough to build about half of the total system, but that's enough to get us going and get a little bit of profits being generated, so that then the profits can pay for the expansion to the full 5,000 square feet.
To the next level. Tell us how we can get involved and help you with Kickstarter.
Well, anyone who would be interested in growing their own food, it's very easy to do once you get the system built. So you build the system and turn the pumps on, put the fish in and feed the fish, and then the fish feed the plants, and the plants clean the water for the fish. So it's possibly the easiest way to grow fresh organic food in your own backyard that I've ever come across, having had a number of gardens.
Well, we can get your Kickstarter site in a moment. And speaking of customizing to individual needs, we've got one here that you just did. So how long did it take you to build this aquaponics?
Well, we did it a little bit at a time, so let's just say the aquaponics tables would take about a week or two if you were working full-time with 2 people, and the greenhouse maybe another week. And so you can build it very fast. The first system we built took 1 week from breaking ground until we had the tables running. That didn't have a greenhouse over it, but it was 1 week and the aquaponics system was up and running. And these are 4 feet by 16 foot long tables. They just use standard construction framing lumber, which is what makes them so inexpensive to build.
How many square feet would you say this is?
This one is 64 square feet.
Oh.
And if you built this with 20 foot long pieces of lumber, then it would be 80 square feet. This one on this side is the deep water culture table, and it is half as wide, which basically just shows you can tailor or customize the plans that we're offering in the Kickstarter to whatever size you need. So here we only had 12 feet of space to put the whole greenhouse in, so we didn't have enough room to put a full 4-foot table on this side, so we put a 2-foot table. Yeah, and you can lift the plants up and take a look at the roots.
Right.
So the roots are growing down into the deep water, so this table is flooded with water, and the roots take up the nutrients just like hydroponics. The difference is that the nutrients, instead of being liquid fertilizers from a jug, they are liquid fertilizers that come from the fish waste. And actually, it's fish waste combined with 2 different colonies of naturally occurring microbes that transform the fish waste into the nitrates that the plants consume. So you start off with ammonia from the fish, and then 1 colony of microbes transforms that to nitrites, and a second colony of microbes transforms that to nitrates. And then the plants consume the nitrates, and in that way the fish produce the fertilizer for the plants, and the plants clean the water for the fish. So it's a closed-loop symbiotic system.
Love it. Can you grow just about anything in this type of a system?
So you can add those, although most of those are going to be in the fish food. One thing is you might end up adding a little bit of iron, for example, so you can get organic variants of any nutrients that might be lacking. But in general, once a system gets fired up and running, you don't add anything except for the fish food because that has those micronutrients in it.
Easy. I like it. So what kind of fish?
So there are a variety of different kinds of fish that you can get.
It's like they're in a hot tub. I'm envious of the fish.
Yeah, and they're easy to see in there.
They're little.
They're little tiny ones right now, and they'll.
Oh my gosh.
They're little teeny tiny babies, but they will grow to be 2 to 5 pound fish. That will be
2 to 5 pounds? Oh my gosh.
They'll grow to a good size for.
What size tank is this?
It's 550 gallons.
Oh, they should be coming up with the food now. Oh yeah. Well, it's dropping down to them. 2 to 5 pounds, and so there's still plenty of room for them. Obviously,
yes. When they're grown, then they will be. Then they'll be filling the tank up more. Right now, they're little tiny babies, so.
And that's still enough to provide the nutrients for the plants.
The plants at this size are not getting as much as they want, so we need to get the fish to grow up a bit before the plants are really going to be happy.
Well, so I think this project has only been put together about 6 weeks or something. 8 weeks?
Yeah, the plants have been running about, I guess about 5 or 6 weeks. You can put the plants in before you put the fish in, and you get the microbe colonies to come in by adding ammonia. And then after the microbe colonies come in, then you can add the fish, and then you grow the fish, and then the system is really going full swing. So it takes several months to get the system into full swing, and then from then on, it's just running automatically. It's like
and
there's nothing to do.
I was just going to say, don't have to change the water or
never.
anything. It's unbelievable.
Never. People run the same water for years. What you do have to do is add a little bit of water because plants transpire. The water used in an aquaponic system is something like 5% or 10% of the water used in normal gardening. So very low water consumption. And the labor required is something like 10% of normal gardening. I mean, the labor basically is put a seed in the gravel, that starts it. So there are seeds in the gravel here. In fact, here are some plants that have popped up.
Right. Are those going to be like little...
These are going to be radishes, watermelon radishes. This is an experiment here where we're going to grow carrots.
I see.
One of the problems with carrots is not that they can't grow. In other words, aquaponic systems will grow root crops like carrots. These are beets over here. The problem is that with carrots, they're kind of fragile, and as they try to go down through rock, they take on all weird shapes. So with this very small, soft, easy to push around gravel, we're hoping that we'll get straight carrots. What I want to do is to explore different kinds of things that can be grown. For example, I want to create a rice paddy.
Interesting.
I want to create giant bins of carrots. So a small system like this can produce all of the leafy greens that you want. And then the other Kickstarter tables are like a river channel table that's better suited for plants like tomatoes and melons and cucumbers and squash that are larger plants. Well, the ways that you can find the Kickstarter project are you can go to a Google search bar and type in Grass Valley Aquaponics Kickstarter. That would be one way to get there, and that should get you the link right away. If you go to Kickstarter, you can type in aquaponics as a search term, and that will bring up all the aquaponics ones, and you can look for the Grass Valley or Grass Valley Aquaponics. That should bring you directly to ours. So basically, Grass Valley Aquaponics and Kickstarter.
Those are the keywords.
Those are the keywords.
And how much time do we have to raise the money?
April 8th is the end of the Kickstarter.
Okay, not much time.
Nope.
We need to kick in there and get some support going, because this is a great project.
And if you go to my YouTube channel, which is Wood Fire Power, all one word, you can follow the construction going on out on the farm. Our in-laws have loaned us a tractor, and we've been given use of the land, and so I'm starting preparing the land, crossing my fingers that Kickstarter makes it.
We can watch you evolve from the ground up.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, thank you so much, Ross, and good luck to you.
Well, that's our show for today. Thanks so much for joining us right here on your Food and Farm Show.
And remember, you can catch us every week, Monday evening, 6:30 p.m., NCTV Channel 11, and Suddenlink 16, and Auburn ACTV Channel 20. We are 24/7 on our YouTube channel. That is the Food and Farm Show. We're also on Facebook and Twitter, and you can find us on the web at thefoodandfarmshow.com.
Lots of ways to get in touch with us. Be sure to tune in next week when we'll have another segment with Backyard Chickens with Janey Powers. We'll also visit Lynn Muth as she talks about nighttime pollinators.
We'll also talk about food rights and how we can protect them right here in Nevada County with Chuck Shea from CABPRO.
So we'll see you right here next week on the Food and Farm Show. Good night, everybody. Be sure to join us each week right here on NCTV Channel 11 at 6:30 to 7:30, and of course on our YouTube channel, The Food and Farm Show.